Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. Y'all, if there was one sentence that I could give you that would sum up this reading, I would say the Grim Reaper killed the harpy because the harpy went into the mystic swamp and killed the boogeyman. Let's get into it. I used my handmade deck, and this reading has biblical characters. We have 3 characters from the Bible. First and foremost, this is the main character of this reading. These are the shoes that I am standing in order to give this reading. This character is Joseph Caiaphas. Caiaphas was a wicked high priest who plotted the death of Jesus and who later persecuted the leaders of the early church. So this is a high priest. He's also the president of the Sanhedrin Council. He was involved in the plot to arrest and kill Jesus. And if there was a one-liner that I could give you to describe the mindset of Caiaphas, this is the type of leader who thinks it's better for one man to die for the people than for the whole nation to perish. And so when we're talking about an entire nation perishing, remember Caiaphas is a president, a leader of some type of organization or group. And whoever I'm talking to in this reading, you are a problem. In the same way that Jesus was a problem for the Sanhedrin Council, you, healer, are a problem for a wicked priest. This wicked priest in this reading is also described as a king of coins. Now, typically the king of coins is somebody that has access to wealth and prosperity. They're hardworking. They're just like good in the earth realm. But obviously this king of coins is in reversed. So we're talking about a wicked high priest, possibly somebody who's attached to a spiritual or a religious community. But being the king of coins in reverse means that this person is corrupt, materialistic. They're obsessed with money. And y'all, randomly describing this person, I got the word fugazi. I have not heard that word in years. And I only first heard that word. I was working in South Carolina, and I was working for a gentleman who was from the area, moved back to his hometown to open a mental health company. I worked at that company. And so one of the words he used to always use was fugazi. And in this reading, that is the word that came to me. So I had to look it up, but fugazi means fake, false, or bogus. So I want you to add all that onto the character traits and the core being of who this high priest is. But this is a leader, so this means they got power, they got control, they have influence. So right now, Caiaphas, the wicked high priest, gets a message. Now, I know they get a message because I got the Page of Spears. So whenever you get the Page of Spears, aka Page of Wands, it means that there's news, preferably good news when it's upright. But right now, this high priest has gotten some type of bad news, and it's causing a negative conversation to take place. And this conversation is revealing that this high priest was a part of an idea. And at the beginning, when the idea was first spoken of, it really sounded like it was great. But based on the climate of Caiaphas in this reading, whatever sounded great in the beginning has turned out to become absolutely nothing. The message that the priest gets, the wicked priest gets, is about a harpy. We've talked about a harpy before. I want you to imagine that the harpy is who you become. The harpy is who you groom yourself to become after experiencing a lot of dark moments in your life. So the harpy is like the mask that we wear, not because we're fake and fugazi, but because we got to get up and do shit. We got responsibilities. Life doesn't stop because something has ended in us. So you put on the mask of the harpy, you keep it moving, but the harpy is not really who you are. And so when they get the message about this harpy, it's a problem because this harpy is changing. So if you are no longer comfortable wearing a mask in order to hide your wounds, that means you must be ready as the harpy to take off your mask and to become who you really would be if you never carried that pain at all. If you never had those experiences, who would you become? This is the worst day ever for this high priest because you are in the process of becoming exactly who you divinely are called to be, which is the inner healer. So the thing is that you got this harpy, but imagine the harpy gets a message or an invite one day, but it does not come from outside of them. The harpy gets a message and it comes from inside of themselves, and it invites them. They receive this invitation essentially to be an inner healer. The inner healer says, "Hey, harpy, You got a lot of pain inside of you, and you've been wearing this mask. You've been struggling with personality disorders. You're not really comfortable existing in this way, and we kind of want to invite you. And if you accept this invitation, we will teach you how to turn your pain into medicine. And so the worst day possible is happening right now for a wicked high priest, and it's really about appreciation. There have been people, possibly a group, but definitely this leader, who has been banking on somebody's pain being never ending. But the harpy has transformed into an inner healer because they RSVP'd, meaning the Most High said to you, baby, you got a lot of pain. And I didn't give you that pain. I didn't put you through painful moments because I wanted you to feel the pain, but I wanted you to transmute it. I wanted you to turn it into a power. And so you get an invitation from inside of yourself, your soul, your spirit. You get a download and you accept and you RSVP, which means in your own mind and spirit, you are reserving yourself to show up at some point in life to an event or to a space. And this is the type of space that is going to transform you. You accepted the invite and Caiaphas can't believe it. This invite all of a sudden transforms the harpy into existing in a state of appreciation. First of all, when you're a harpy, you're not really appreciative of your life or your body because of what you've endured. And that is fair. And so you wear a mask, not that you're fake, but because you got to survive. But right now you are appreciative. And when you carry the energy of gratitude or appreciation, it automatically puts you in vibrational alignment with your true love nature. To be a harpy, you are not in vibrational alignment with your true love nature. But for you, when you accepted the invitation to turn your pain into medicine, you get into alignment. Your vibration shifts. And now the energy of you, the universe is hearing and feeling and sensing and responding to you as one of its own, because you have removed the mask that was covering the nature of your true soul. So you find yourself. Something about you finding yourself, something about you appreciating life, appreciating your body, being in vibrational alignment is going to forever change the life of a wicked high priest. So what happens when you accept this invitation? What happens when you respond to the RSVP and say, okay, I'll show up? Well, after you get the message, I get the 8 of coins. And so this RSVP is going to require you to become an apprentice. This means you will be trained. You will be a learner. You will be a trainee. Well, who is training you after you accept the invitation of inner healer? Martha and Mary. Now, when we look at Martha and Mary, I could be so literal and be like, maybe there's somebody named Martha, maybe there's somebody Mary, and there totally could be, right? But this is saying that if anybody sent you an invitation from inside of yourself, it would be the energies of Martha and Mary. You can read about Martha and Mary in the Bible, specifically Luke 10. I'm going to describe them now. First, let me read what's on the card. Martha and Mary. Martha was the sister of Mary who reaffirmed her faith in Jesus during the funeral of her brother Lazarus, and then witnessed him being raised from the dead by the Savior. So you didn't have a funeral, you didn't cry, your brother's gone. And then all of a sudden your brother comes back again. And so Martha reaffirms her faith because of what she has seen. Now there's Mary. Mary is the sister that worshiped the feet of Jesus, witnessed him raising her dead brother Lazarus, and she later anointed the body of Christ. So that's what's on my card. But really, let me break this down. I wanted to ask, all right, God, Martha and Mary, what does this mean? And so they send you an invitation, and Martha and Mary are showing up in this reading because they're going to teach you how to turn your pain into purpose. They're going to teach you that all of that pain is actually a medicine. At the end of your apprenticeship with Martha and Mary, you are going to become a medicine. This is about transforming you from the inner healer to the medicine woman or the medicine of man. But you got to go through an apprenticeship. This means you must be educated. Martha and Mary are going to teach you new skills. You are going to perfect something. You will be rewarded and you will be successful. Where is the class going to take place? So you know how sometimes you get an invitation to a party and it gives you all the details. And one of the things you got to know is, well, where's the location? Like, where's the event going to be happening? Well, this event takes place in the Mystic Swamp. So you're showing up to class with Martha and Mary. You got to work, but you're going to be rewarded. But the class is going to make you show up every single day in the Mystic Swamp. Before I talk about the Mystic Swamp, we're going to break down Martha and Mary. So Jesus comes over to the house, okay? Lazarus, their brother, is dead. When Jesus shows up to the house, Martha and Mary are sisters, but they have very different personalities, and the way they respond to the presence of Jesus is different. First, let's talk about Mary. Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus when he is in their home. Mary represents the contemplative spirit. She has an intimate connection with God. She's quiet, she's listening, and she's receiving divine teaching. Her posture, sitting at the feet of Jesus, anointing his feet with oil, all of that indicates her spirit, something that was happening inside of her. Now, her sister, Martha, was in the kitchen when Jesus was in the house. So first, I want you to think about you. If Jesus walks in, and not to be disrespectful, I know that everybody doesn't really align or, whatever. If someone great walks in, someone godly, someone divine, someone sent as a messenger, someone sent to reveal to you who you really are. If that person, that being, that spirit or entity walks into your home, do you respond as Mary? Or do you respond as Martha? So Martha's in the kitchen. Martha chooses the path of service when Jesus walks in. So this is about active service. This is about good works. This is about love of the neighbor. This is hospitality, practical tasks, care for guests, helping others. So Jesus is in the house and Martha is running around like a chicken with her head cut off. But she's getting frustrated because she's so busy and her intention is beautiful. And so you have two sisters who respond to the Savior in two different ways. And this reading is saying that you have two aspects of you. And the reason why you get a message to become an inner healer is because there's something in you that is supposed to be developed. But if you don't go through this apprenticeship, which requires you to show up to the Mystic Swamp, you won't be able to really complete your spiritual package. You won't really be able to complete your spiritual life. And so initially, when I was understanding the story of Martha and Mary, you could kind of compare them against each other and say, oh, one did better and one did worse. But no. Mary is the contemplative spirit and Martha is the active spirit, but both of them are required in order to be spiritually balanced. So when you are in training, because you've accepted the invitation, your spirit teachers are Martha and Mary. You are learning how to balance your contemplative spirit with your active spirit. So listen, I'm going to talk about them a little more. Jesus responds to Mary's choice. Remember, Mary sat at Jesus's feet. Jesus called Mary's choice the good portion. Why was that? Because it prioritizes deep, unwavering focus on the spiritual body over worldly distractions. So one of the reasons and one of the ways that you are going to learn how to turn your pain into medicine is because you are going to work on your spiritual body, but you are also going to balance your spiritual body with worldly distractions, right? So the fact that Mary could get quiet, Mary could get still, she could focus. But then you got her sister in the background who's like, where's the dishes? Where's the bowls? How many plates do we need? Is there enough food? God. And she got so annoyed. Her sister, you're just sitting there at his feet. And here I am trying to get everything ready. But the point of it is, listen, sometimes we get so caught up in the grind that you are actually forgetting to spend time with the person that you are grinding for. So the way I'm understanding this is, Whoever I'm talking to, you have a spiritual calling. If there is a wicked high priest who has an issue with you or who prefers you to be a harpy, a lesser version of self, somebody who wears a mask, somebody who struggles with personality disorders because they don't know who they are, they're not comfortable being who they are, this priest wanted you to remain that way. But when you accept an invitation, Martha and Mary put you through a training, which means that, listen, maybe in your life you were more like Martha. Maybe you were more like Mary. Maybe you spent the bulk of your time in stillness, contemplating, in devotion and love. Maybe there was some level of action that you hadn't really put in place, right? Or you could have been more like the busyness, caught up in the material world. Your heart is pure. Your intentions are clean. Everything you do in the outer world is to really respond to a spiritual problem. But when the Savior walks in your house, is that the best time? Right? And so the reason why Jesus kind of celebrated one over the other is because she understood what the moment called for. And so the idea is that there was something inside of you that maybe distracted you so much so that you were missing the moment. There's something inside of you that wants to sit with you. You've got an invitation because there's something inside of you that wants to come to the forefront. And as soon as it comes to the forefront, you no longer have to be this harpy. And all of the work you're doing is really for your spiritual walk, but you are doing so much work and you won't stop, or you're just so busy that you are forgetting to sit and to spend time with maybe the Most High. Whatever it is that is giving you this gift, this calling, the assignment, you still got to sit and spend time with it. And so, y'all, whatever your apprenticeship was, whatever you learned, I'm going to talk about the mystic swamp. Whatever you were doing, it was teaching you how to work with your active spirit and your contemplative spirit. I have a few more notes. Hold on, y'all. The last part I'm going to say is that both sisters, they both have a deep faith. No, this is what I'm going to tell you. Deep faith and practical action are necessary for a complete spiritual life. That is what you had to learn in order to take this mask off as the harpy. You accepted the calling, and the class where you learned this took place in the mystic swamp. The mystic swamp, just think of it, a swamp. Who wants to go to a swamp to have a class or to learn something? But when you show up to this location, it is a reminder that the blessings of self-awareness, authenticity, and profound growth await those who muster the courage to journey into our own depths. And so this is like, listen, you don't have to be the harpy. You can take the mask off as the harpy, but you got to go to the mystic swamp. You got to go to the depths. You got to go deep. You got to go dark. You got to get inside of yourself. And so just like, it's almost saying like Mary represented the depth of spirituality. Martha represented the surface. She was on the surface of the swamp, trying to get rid of the bugs, get rid of the snakes, pull out all the nastiness. But the other sister was like, I'm going in, I'm going down, like I'm going in it. Right? And so one could understand the true nature of the moment and the other couldn't. And it's really the only difference why one sister knew to sit at the feet of Jesus is because she had already gone that deep inside of herself. So she understood what the moment called for. But if we're so busy and if we're on the surface, we don't always recognize the moments when we are called to go deeper. And so Martha and Mary are really aspects of self that you must have learned to balance in whatever your apprenticeship was. Y'all, this could have happened in isolation. You understand what I'm saying? But it's about balancing self, but being able to take a risk and to go into a darkness. But when you go into this swamp, you come out with self-awareness. You come out with authenticity and profound growth. That is the message that the wicked high priest got about you. So the wicked high priest is like, what do you mean this harpy went into this swamp? And they're like, yeah, the harpy got an invitation and they told her to go to the swamp. She went to the swamp, and when she came out, she was a self-aware, authentic medicine woman that had gone through some type of profound growth. Hey y'all, Easton just joined me, so if you hear some extra breathing, it's just him. And so one of the things about the mystic swamp, the one thing that you had to learn is that you needed to release time. Release time and let the universe show you what to do. So think about Martha, who couldn't release time. She's like, oh my God, it's time to eat. It's time to clean. It's time to prepare. It's time, you know what I mean? And so at some point, it's like, yo, release that. Release the busyness. Release the outer world. Release the external stuff. And listen so that universe, life, the Most High, source, the creation can show you what to do. And so there's an aspect of you that wasn't able to recognize that there are certain things that I need to release. Whatever the busyness is of the material or the external world, it's taking up too much of my energy. And the universe almost wants you to sit down, to sit in stillness, to listen, to develop a level of depth to your devotion, right? And then guess what? When you come out of this mystic swamp, you're this medicine woman. The medicine woman means that you finally understand, I don't need to put on a mask. I don't need to be a harpy. I don't need to be resistant to what I've experienced. And so the medicine woman reveals to you that each hardship you overcome and every achievement that you reach is actually shaping you into the powerful healer that you are to become. So everything that happened to you was making you, grooming you, and developing you into a healer. Worst day possible for Caiaphas, the wicked high priest. The inner healer gets an invitation. The harpy accepts. The harpy shows up to the mystic swamp as a harpy, but you come out of the swamp as a medicine woman. And the only reason why you could come out as the medicine woman is because you addressed the boogeyman. Now, think about the boogeyman as a little kid. You don't want to go to bed. You don't want to go in your closet because you feel like in some dark corner, in some dark space, something is hiding and it wants to get me. So I want you to think about everything that you've gone through, every pain, every death, every experience. When the boogeyman comes out, it's asking you a question. How much has life taken from who you were supposed to be originally? Think about your bedroom as a little kid. Imagine that your bedroom is really your body. And when you were afraid to go under your bed or to go in your closet, that is almost saying like there are parts of your body, parts of you, parts of your identity that you are afraid of experiencing. And you're only afraid of experiencing them because something happened. Life took something from you. It took an experience, it took a moment, it took a person, but it takes something from you. And when it takes from you, maybe it's also taking who it is that you're supposed to be, who it is that you're called to be. But y'all, once you went through the mystic swamp and once you become the medicine woman, it is almost like the first place you want to go is to the closet. Now you can't wait to go under the bed. Y'all, I started to think when I saw the boogeyman, you know, sometimes you don't want to go to bed, you don't want to go in your room because something's hiding, but it reminded me of myself. Like, some of the things, a lot of the things that I'd gone through in my life, it didn't make me not want to be in my body. Like, I didn't want to not live. I didn't want to be anybody else. I wanted to be Tennille. I was okay with being Tennille, but it's like I needed to alter her so that I could handle her. And what I'm saying is that the darkness that I experienced, it made it very uncomfortable for me to live inside of my vessel and feel safe and secure. And so one of the ways that I handled my boogeyman was to just numb myself. I'm not afraid of the closet. I'm not afraid of going under the bed if I'm high or if I got a buzz or if I'm drunk or if I'm in a relationship. Like, something has to be keeping me busy. Something has to keep me distracted. Something has to keep me numb. And I can totally be in my body as long as I'm in an altered state. Because when I'm sober, the boogeyman is too much for me to handle. Y'all, when my boogeyman was too much for me to handle, there was somebody attached to me that was thriving as a result of it. And this is saying the same for you. But when you come out as the medicine woman, you recognize that, oh my God, everything I'm creating, my truest manifestations are powered by service and love. Y'all, so this is about you recognizing that you are a healer that has the ability to manifest, but you had to master the service and the love of Mary and Martha. If you're going to manifest, if you are going to live this life in alignment with your true vibration, which is the love of nature and the nature of love, you got to get rid of that boogeyman. And you can't drink it away. You can't fuck it away. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, but you got to get rid of the boogeyman. And the only way to do that is to go to the mystic swamp. Now, here's the other part. Yeah, I paused for just a moment. I got distracted. I'm not really sure where I left off, so I'm so sorry. But I was talking about this boogeyman. And so I'm understanding that it's almost like the boogeyman is taking away your power. The boogeyman is like this being, but it's a shadow figure. It's a figure that's been created as a result of what you went through. When you think about the boogeyman, I want you to think about how many deaths you have died. We often talk about living many lives once. But when you think about a death, it doesn't have to be a person losing your life, but like you as a person, you have experienced a lot of endings. And every ending you experience allows the boogeyman to move in and to take up space because death is there. And so this is saying, okay, every time something has died, what is born inside of you? And so if we don't handle the death, if we don't handle the trauma, the ending, the heartbreak, the devastation, the boogeyman moves in. That's what's born inside of us because you're not preparing for something to leave your life that you genuinely love and enjoy. But when it leaves, a ghost moves in, a shadow figure. And if you've gone through a lot of endings, can you imagine the size of that shadow figure? And this reading says that the boogeyman was essentially eating the power of your solar plexus. So this is how the wicked high priest was able for you. This is, I love being in my body. That is all that this high priest is. It's like they keep saying that to themselves. I love being my body, but I love being my body. It's almost like they are trying to stop the Grim Reaper from coming. And it's almost like they're lying to the universe so that the universe is like, oh no, don't send the Grim Reaper. They're okay. They really love being their body. This is like trading spaces. Somebody altered something in you to make sure that the boogeyman never left. Somebody never wanted your boogeyman to leave. Because if the boogeyman moves out of your house, well, it's got to go move into this King of Coins. It's got to go move into Joseph Caiaphas' house, the wicked high priest. And so the worst day possible is when this high priest, this King of Coins, gets a message that the Grim Reaper is actually on the way to that. It's like, what do you mean the Grim Reaper is on the way to my house? What do you mean? He's been living with a harpy for the past 50 years. Why is the Grim Reaper coming to my house? And it's like, oh, you didn't know? The harpy got an invitation from Martha and Mary. Yeah, the harpy didn't know they were a healer, but they responded. They RSVP'd. They went to class. They did the work. They did the apprenticeship. They slayed the mystic swamp and came out a medicine woman. Yeah, because they finally just let the universe tell them what to do. They released time, they released busyness, the material, like they stepped away from the noise and they were able to finally hear. And because you stepped away, because you can hear, now your manifestations are going to be true. Because you are not manifesting as a harpy. No. You're manifesting as a medicine woman, as a medicine man, which means your manifestations are based on truth. They are powered by service and love. Love was taught to you by Mary. Service was taught to you by Martha, and they taught you this in the mystic swamp. Means you got to go deep. You're not deep enough. The mystic swamp talks about the older we get, the more we mature, the darker life becomes. You can really see the darkness of the world. And the problem is that you don't want life to become so dark that you forget that you have a flame inside of you. Right? Like you don't want your flame to go out. And so the wicked high priest essentially, and here's the thing. I really feel like this wicked high priest, in order to make sure that they held on to their position of power, to make sure that their finances were always stable, this is somebody who sends you experiences again and again and again in order to make sure that the boogeyman can always take up residence inside of your vessel. But remember, you accepted the invitation. You took your class in the mystic swamp. Martha and Mary got you together in your spirit. And so now when the boogeyman comes, it's a different type of battle. We got the 7 of Spears. When the boogeyman shows up, which means you go through endings, you still go through trauma, you still go through fuck shit, but you don't respond the same way. Now you're showing up as a soldier. And so now you go through things, but the 7 of Swords says, listen, you hold your ground through tough negotiations. You defend your ideas. You fight off competitions. So before you used to kind of just submit and cave and just put on the mask. Oh God, another experience. Let me put on the harpy mask. Let me put on the mask to cover my wound. No. No, this time you understand that this must be developing me. This is growing me. I'm fighting. And so now the boogeyman can't find anywhere inside of you to live. And if it can't live in you, then it's got to live in whoever was sending him to you, sending it. Y'all, this is really about your solar plexus. When you went into that mystic swamp and you did your little session with Martha and Mary, you recognized that everything was really turning you into a profound healer. This was about restructuring and healing your solar plexus. This is where your power comes from. And if you're wearing a mask, then your power is going somewhere else. And as soon as you take off the mask of the harpy and you stand as the medicine man and medicine woman, so at some point when you were the harpy, your solar plexus, or the power from your solar plexus, was being drained by a wicked high priest. In your life, what does that look like? It looks like difficulty with getting and or cooperating with limits and boundaries. It looks like trying to aggressively overpower others or being easily overpowered. So this is about you not knowing how to use your own power. And so here it is. This high priest sends you something, but this time you're fighting. This time you're standing and listen, they cannot they cannot easily overpower you like you did before you went into that mystic swamp. When you come out of the mystic swamp, you're a whole different beast, a whole different animal. And now you're the one that they can't beat. Now you're the one that they can't subdue. And so this is a shift. This means that the boogeyman itself must shift because it cannot get in. You are too strong. You're not wavering. You're steadfast. You are loyal and true. The shift is what you've been waiting for. The shift is the moment that allows you to wear your true identity. And if you are wearing your true identity, who the hell has this king of coins, wicked high priest, Joseph Caiaphas, been walking around as? Y'all, and so somebody is recognizing that and it's not that they're recognizing that they love their body. The worst thing in this person's life is for you to love being in your body. When you love being in your body, that's an indication that the boogeyman ain't there. And if the boogeyman's not there, then where is he? He's being led to the king of coins by the grim reaper. And so just like you had to go into the mystic swamp to realize that you were a true medicine man or medicine woman, which means you can take pain and turn it into medicine. Do you understand? That means nothing anybody sends you can kill or harm you because you know what to do with. You have the recipe for everything. And so now you went into the mystic swamp to become your true self. And guess what? The king of coins has to enter the forest of tears. Somebody's got to get ready to grieve. And it's inevitable. They can't stop it. And they know they can't stop it because the boogeyman is not in you. It is not around you. It is not attached to you. You are not easily overpowered. You do not try to aggressively overpower people. You do not have difficulty setting boundaries. You do not have difficulty limiting yourself or cooperating with just natural norms. You are going to experience a shift. This shift is going to bring you a new adventure, a new way of expressing yourself. You are going to breathe new life into something old. It could be a career. You'll experience love. Whatever it is, you are going through a new beginning. There's no more boogeyman under your bed. There's no more boogeyman in your closet. There's nothing inside of you that can make you so afraid of being your authentic self because you understand how to heal it now. You've gone through your apprenticeship. Worst day ever for a king of coins. The grim reaper is coming and the grim reaper is taking this king of coins to the forest of tears. And the king of coins is like, but I love being my body. But I love being my body. But that's a lie. Anybody wicked that would sanction another soul to a life that is not their own, you never loved your body. You just didn't want to deal with grief. And so to stop yourself from feeling grief, you decided to pass it on to somebody else. But the problem is that the person that you pass it on to is a fucking healer. And they can heal any pain that you send them. They can heal any wound that you have caused them from an experience that you have created or manufactured for them to walk through in their life. And so you can't send them anything that can put them in a state of grief. They will turn everything into a manifestation because they are now using their solar plexus to power their life with service and love. Service and love. Martha and Mary. You need both sisters. One sister ain't better than the other. They are each displaying different spiritual principles, and you just had to get yourself together and balance them. And now you are profound in your ability to use all of your pain as medicine. And this means that you have become everything you have done for you and to you from the inside out. This is now what you will teach others to do. A bad day for a wicked high priest. Last card I have to read. It says, directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. You know, one of the reasons why we wear a mask as a harpy is because we have allowed the worst moments to develop our personality. And so instead of doing that, you don't allow the pain to define you. You alter the pain, you transmute it, you shift it, you find the purpose, you find the lesson, and you only are focusing on the life that you want. When you're only focusing on all the awful things, the things that you don't want, you develop a personality that's not authentically you. So y'all, to conclude the message, in the same way that Jesus arrived to the house of Martha and Mary is the same way that the inner healer invitation arrived inside of your spirit, inside of your soul. And so you got an invitation inside of your body and you had to balance. You had to understand how to work with it. So Martha was doing the most for Jesus while Mary was just being with him. You get the invitation and you learn the difference, or you learn how to balance doing the most versus just being with spirit. Y'all, and that was the game changer for you. Somebody is not going to like being in their body. And when we're talking about the Grim Reaper, we are talking about death. We are talking about a transition from one way to the next. So is this King of Coins going to experience a level of grief that then turns them into a person that can self-heal? Who knows? I doubt it, though. Honestly, based on this reading, a wicked high priest who plots to kill the Savior, like, come on. And this is about the spirit, like the spirit of Joseph Caiaphas that lived during the times of Jesus. That same spirit lives in humans today. And the light of Jesus, the consciousness of Christ that many of you carry, don't you know that you are still chased and persecuted and hunted by this type of spirit? The story is still playing. The story has never ended because our souls are eternal and energy cannot be expired or expelled. And so, y'all, we are living this. You are living this. And I promise you, I feel like everything that Jesus taught about healing is exactly what you implemented, and it worked. And so, yes, they were able to kind of kill Jesus in order to save a nation, save a coven, save a group, save a family, whatever this is. They were happier with you being a harpy. But the fact that you are a profound medicine man and medicine woman and you are experiencing a shift, this is going to be devastating for whatever it is that this King of Coins is a leader of. Is it a company? Is it a family, a coven, a cult, an organization? Whatever it is, if you are going through a shift and the boogeyman ain't with you because you are too strong and you stand your ground, that means the shift that comes to you is going to be new. But the shift that returns to this group leader is going to be old, but it's authentically old. This is who this person really is. This is the type of life that they should have been living. And so they've been a king of a life that really wasn't theirs. And it was only because you were living authentically in an expression that didn't belong to you. But you adopted it, you adjusted to the expression because the pain and the darkness was great. But then you figured out what to do with the pain. Then you figured out how to use the darkness and use it as medicine. And you healed yourself. And so there is nothing that can come to you that you don't know how to defend yourself against. I feel like that is eternal life. If you can heal yourself, then you can essentially live forever. Y'all, this is our reading. I'm going to get this out to you soon. I love you. I do have to edit a few pieces, but I'll get it out to you soon. I love you so much. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow for a Sunday message. In Patreon, you'll get a double message because tomorrow is a lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces. I've also heard blood moon. I don't know if it's a blood moon too, but it's pretty intense. And so we have a 9-card spread. And I say 9 card, it's going to be way more than 9, but there are 9 questions, 9 points that are coming out in our reading tomorrow for Patreon. So Patreon, you'll have 2 readings tomorrow. I love y'all so much. Have a beautiful full moon, and I'll talk to you on the next message. Bye-bye.